Alright, I'm back with another writing prompt. Here's the prompt I chose. Unzombies are red humanoid creatures with impeccable hygiene. Damn it, I never read that fast stuff. I should keep it open longer next time. Anyway, the idea is that unzombies are the opposite of zombies. Humans want to eat them. So I thought this was kind of a neat prompt. So I thought I'd give it a shot. Hopefully the quality is a bit better than last time. I changed some settings. So I don't think it was terrible last time, but maybe it's a bit more readable now. So yeah, here's my premise. Unzombies are to humans what humans are to zombies, and the protagonist becomes an Unzo. So I'm just calling them Unzos in this for a little bit more. Like, I felt like Unzombie was a little bit clunky. Then has to escape his human companions, i.e. the tables have turned. I thought this was quite an interesting prompt because the ideas I was thinking about here are, you know, initially being on the side of eating and then becoming the meat. That's interesting. I could have gone even more for a kind of farming, meat related story, but I think I found a cool direction for it. So the sentence I start with, no one knew where Unzos came from. I repeat that a few times throughout it because the idea is that in this little story we find out something about where Unzos come from. So this is my idea at the beginning, and that's what I'm working towards. As I think I said last time about how I write prompts, I don't normally write so linearly. I normally hop around with scenes in longer pieces of fiction, but with prompts I generally sort of go from top to bottom, and I'm feeling out. I have a vague idea of an end I want to reach and a scene I want to write, and so I build towards that. I'm doing this thing again I did last time in the last prompt that I recorded, where at first you don't know who the protagonist is. It's just sort of omniscient description, and then it's gonna sync, and then it's gonna sort of focus down onto the protagonist. You can see I put the protagonist in a little bit with, at first we felt disgusting for doing it, and then later it's going to really focus into the protagonist, and then we see what he or she, I guess. Again, I don't think I specified. In my head it was a boy. What he was doing. Yeah. This is a bit of gross writing, a bit of sort of gory-ish writing. Quite fun to write. I enjoy it. Blood and flesh and eating things. So the idea here is that when humans smell the scent of an Unzo, they become like zombies, and the Unzo is just the helpless food. I snuck in a little paragraph there about a little bit of world building, I guess, which is that the world is overpopulated, so Unzos as a means of food came at kind of a good time. Oh yeah, and in the second paragraph you can see I talked about religious groups saying it's a test from God, and other religious groups saying that it was a gift. Which I think there's more to be explored here in this idea. I think this is actually kind of a neat idea. You may be saying to yourself, well, actually I haven't got to the twist yet. There's something of a twist here. But I don't think it's the least obvious twist in the world. we'll see. So the narrator's talking about how he ate Unzos as well, the amazing taste of them, the feeling of eating them. I really quite enjoyed writing this, actually. I like sort of soft horror stuff like this, where you can just develop a kind of I don't know, you can talk about textures and sensations a lot. I guess it's body horror adjacent. I quite like that. And hunger as a kind of horror, like zombies are interesting. I think what something I find scary about zombies personally is that they're just so hungry. Like, imagine what it would be like to be a zombie, to be that hungry. At least the way I imagine them, just ravenous. It's just taken over all of your thoughts, just hunger. That's an idea that appeals to me, so I try to put that into this a bit. I think I've read something like that before as well, so maybe I was drawing on something I've read as well. I can't remember what it is, but the idea that you know, the taste of something, the smell of something just drives you absolutely mad. There's a Junji Ito short story about a tree, the sap of which is so delicious that everyone wants to eat it, but the tree can kill you through like interspatial portals, and it slaps you with a branch if you eat it, if it spots you eating it. It's pretty good. Junji Ito is pretty good in general, worth checking out. Speaking of, if I was writing more of this, I'd probably try and get real gory with it, or real body horror with it. I think that would be an interesting direction to go with this. Maybe there are different kinds of Unzos, maybe there are the way that humans interact with them are different depending. Okay, so you can see the twist here. Narrator has turned into an Unzo. Oh yeah, so something I did quite a while, I had to go back and edit things a few times in this, and it's worth pointing out why, because they're common things actually. So firstly, I got rid of the premise at the top. But maybe, am I doing it here? No, I'm not doing it here yet. Later on I have this, I realised that I've been writing in the wrong tense. So I've been writing in past tense for all of this. And I accidentally slip into present tense. I think present tense is quite good for horror, and it's quite a natural sort of feel. It's probably why I slipped into it. And then I had to go and edit that out. So here's his, the narrator's sister on the hunt for the fresh Unzo. And then he realises that he's going to get eaten by his sister. And I didn't describe too much how old she is, because I thought I'd leave it vague in the end, but I was imagining almost maybe she's only like a little girl. It's a bit creepier in a way. Little pigtailed schoolgirl or something. I'm channeling a bit of sort of Lovecrafty, slightly overwrought language as well. You know, the inescapable truth sinks into me. I guess it's just a mode for horror. I think it works. Your mileage may vary, but I think it works. Yeah, you can see I'm adding in a little bit more lore here. So I quite like hiding a little mystery in a prompt if I can think of one, like a little more to be figured out. If you want to probe, if you want to try and figure out what else is going on in the story. So there's a little bit of a secret in this story as well. So this was quite fun, writing about the sister approaching and then attacking. I really just quite enjoyed this prompt. I like the I like the switch from predator to prey. I think that's quite fun. Oh, another thing it made me think of is District 9. Maybe I was channeling some District 9. Because in that, Vim Vickers, I want to say, main guy becomes an alien when he was before quite racist or speciesist to them. Oh yeah, you can see here I'm changing tenses. So this is when I spotted I slipped into present tense. That's quite a common thing. I see that a lot when I'm critiquing other stories and stuff. It's fairly common, and it's easy to do. So worth keeping an eye out for. Another thing that I was doing small edits of, because I've speeded it up, they happen quite fast. But sometimes I want to use a word and I realise I already used that word in the paragraph. And depending if I want to use that word, depending on where I want to use that word, like whether I want to use it in its new location or in the old location, sometimes I'll go back and edit out the word so that I can use it in the new sentence. Hopefully that makes sense. So if I, for example, if I use the word, I did it with the word flesh in one of the paragraphs. I'd already used the word flesh and I didn't want to keep repeating flesh, but then I had a sentence which I quite wanted to say, tear the flesh from them or something like that. So I changed the previous word to meat, I think. Yeah, there's a little change. I changed it to 3, and then I said parents and elder brother. There's a little secret. He realizes that I guess it's not that secret. I just realized I wrote a few bits at the end that make it not very secret at all. It's very obvious. But yeah, they ate their parents and brother when they became Unzos. Quite fun as well, the idea that Unzos can't speak, which wasn't in the prompt, but I thought it was interesting. What was in the prompt was that they're red-skinned and very intelligent. But I quite like the idea that they can't speak, they can't reason, they can't say, "It's me, your brother." They can't cry either. They can't scream. No noise, no tears. I mean, that's spooky. Becoming just a piece of meat. That's pretty creepy. And I thought I'd go with a heroic turn in the end. With the narrator making his escape. I had a choice there. I could have just ended it with him getting eaten by her. I almost did that, but sometimes I like making a prompt and giving it that feel of it's just the beginning of a larger story, and then your brain can kind of wander off into that world, wondering what happens next. So I gave him a happy-ish ending. I mean, he lost an arm, and obviously he's on his own. I have an idea about where this story would go. In my head, I didn't get to I didn't have time to write it. I spent about 50 minutes writing this, so this is sped up about 3 times or so. But in my head, I'm thinking, oh, there's a commune or something of Unzos that escaped, or like a collective, and they're now like, the humans in The Walking Dead or something like that, hiding out from the humans that want to eat them. Something like that. Anyway, I didn't have time to write it. Alright, well, that's the prompt. Hopefully you can read most of it like this. I only scroll down on the right there at the end. There we go. Thanks for watching.